Okay, so get this right. There's this research paper, and it's all about how AI can totally change the game for PhD students.
Yeah, especially for those who, are navigating academia in their second, maybe third language.
The pressure to publish in those top journals, it's like climbing Mount Everest, am I right?
It can feel that way. And this paper, it points out that publications have become a key metric of success for doctoral students.
So true. But
Yeah.
what makes this research stand out is that it's not just theoretical.
Yes.
It's based on actual experiences.
Exactly. The authors, Hui Hom Hun, Anakagung Ayu Reddy Pujanti, Ziki Lee, Abdul Kawinori, and Ziheng Zhu, they're all international PhD students themselves.
No way.
And get this, they even brought their supervisor, Lynette Pretorius, on board.
Wow. A whole team effort.
They wanted to share their personal stories about using AI tools during their PhD journeys, like actually using them.
So they were writing their dissertations, dealing with all that academic stuff, but with AI by their side.
Exactly. Instead of just debating whether AI is good or bad, they wanted to show how these tools can be used, practically in the real world. And it's not just one platform they were using. We're talking ChatGPT, Quillbot, Grammarly, even Canva for presentations.
Okay, so they had a whole arsenal of AI tools. I'm hooked. Tell me more. What were they using these tools for?
Imagine being able to polish your writing, find those perfect words, especially when you're dealing with complex ideas and in a language that's not your first language.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's like trying to write a symphony when you only know how to play chopsticks on the piano.
And that's not all. They were even using AI to translate quotes accurately, without losing those important cultural
Oh,
nuances.
that's key. I remember wrestling with translations in grad school. It was like trying to decipher ancient hieroglyphics.
In the paper, there's this great story from one of the researchers, Ziki. She was analyzing interviews, right? And one participant, they used this Chinese idiom.
Okay.
And if you translate it literally, it sounds something like seeing flowers in the mist, looking at the moon in the water.
That's pretty, I guess, but I'd have no idea what it actually means.
Exactly. But Ziki, she didn't just go for a word-for-word translation. She turned to ChatGPT. And get this, the AI understood the assignment. It translated the idiom perfectly, capturing the essence of both languages.
No way.
And it gave the deeper meaning, too. The situation is shrouded in mystery, constantly shifting and challenging to grasp. It's like having a superpower language tutor on demand.
Wow. Chat GPT for the win. It should get an honorary linguistics degree or something. But did AI help with anything else, beyond just the language stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Another researcher, Jiang, she was wrestling with Bourdieu's theory,
Oh, yeah, I remember Bourdieu.
which, let's be honest, can feel like its own language sometimes, right?
Totally.
And she was stuck on this concept of practice, which is notoriously tricky. So she decided, why not? Let me ask ChatGPT for some help.
Did ChatGPT give her, like, the SparkNotes version of Bourdieu?
Even better. It actually broke down how practice connected to Bourdieu's other ideas, field, capital, habitus, all of that. Instead of just spitting out a definition, it helps Jihang actually understand the relationship between those concepts, which is, key for really getting Bourdieu.
Right. So we're not just talking about using AI to sound smarter, but to actually get smarter.
Yeah.
I like that. What about getting published, though? Did AI help them navigate that whole process, too?
Oh, big time. Lynette's experience is super interesting. She does qualitative research, which often means long papers, tons of quotes, in-depth descriptions. But journals, they have those word limits.
Ugh, yeah, word limits. The worst.
So Lynette, she decides to use her customized ChatGPT to cut down the word count, but without losing any of the important details.
Hold on. Customized ChatGPT. Okay, that's some next-level AI hacking going on there. Tell me more. How'd you do that?
It was like a back and forth with the AI. Lynette would give ChatGPT a paragraph and ask it to rephrase it, but with fewer words, all while making sure the core message stayed the same, of course.
So she was still in control, guiding the AI.
Exactly, it was a collaboration. Lynette made sure that the AI suggestions were actually making the writing better, not just shorter.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all about using AI as a thought partner, not a ghostwriter. But you know what's got me thinking? Where does this whole concept of Ubuntu fit into all of this? We've gone from AI grammar tips to, like, academic power struggles. How do these things connect?
That's a great question, and this is where the paper takes a fascinating turn. So, Ubuntu, it basically means humanity toward others. It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected, like, I am because we are.
It's a beautiful philosophy
Yeah.
and so relevant right now, especially in academia, which can feel like, Everyone's in a pressure cooker.
Totally. And these researchers, they're saying that Ubuntu can actually be like a guiding principle for how we use AI in academia.
Interesting.
It's not just about using these tools to get ahead, as individuals. It's about how AI can help create a system that's more fair and just for all researchers. It's about creating a level playing field, regardless of your background or what language you speak.
I'm really starting to see how this all ties together. But how does this Ubuntu philosophy actually play out, in the real world? How did these PhD students experience it firsthand?
So there's Reddy, for example. She's juggling motherhood and a PhD.
Talk about a masterclass in time management.
Right. So she starts using ChatGPT for everything. I mean, everything from outlining chapters to, get this, planning family vacations.
Okay, no, that's impressive. I can barely plan a grocery list with my toddler hanging off my leg.
Seriously. But it shows how AI can support, our whole lives, not just the academic side. Reddy found that using AI actually freed up her time and mental energy. She could be more present for her family and her research.
That's amazing. Less stress, more productivity. It's like AI helped her find that balance, that harmony.
Exactly. And that idea of interconnectedness, it's everywhere in the paper. Remember how we were talking about the pressure to publish?
Oh, yeah.
The authors, they found that AI could help break down some of those barriers, especially for non-native English speakers.
Because their ideas could be brilliant, but maybe they don't have the, Shakespearean writing skills to impress those journal editors.
Exactly. And the paper, it highlights this fear of AI being seen as cheating.
Which is interesting, right?
It often comes from a resistance to change,
Yeah.
like clinging to old ideas of what real scholarship should look like.
It's like trying to pay with a check when everyone's using Apple Pay these days.
Exactly. And there's this funny anecdote in the paper. Lynette, she's talking to some colleagues, and they're convinced that any paper using words like delve or tapestry must be AI generated.
Like those words are canceled now, banned from academic writing.
Right. But it raises a good point, doesn't it? Is it really cheating? Or is it challenging a system that might be, well, a little unfair? A system that favors certain writing styles,
I love that this research is making us question our assumptions. It's so easy to get stuck in our ways, especially in academia. Maybe AI is pushing us to be more open-minded.
Absolutely. And that goes back to Ubuntu. By using AI ethically, collaboratively, we can create a more welcoming environment for all researchers.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
Precisely. Individual success is tied to the well-being of the entire community.
Instead of fearing AI, maybe we should explore how it can help us live those Ubuntu values, supporting each other, learning from each other.
Creating knowledge together, right? It's
Yeah.
a powerful shift.
It really is.
Yeah.
But with all the amazing things AI can do, are there also some potential downsides? We've got to be realistic, right?
For sure. And to be honest, it's something the researchers wrestle with too. They're excited about the possibilities, but they also see the potential pitfalls.
Like what?
One big concern is access. Not everyone has equal access to these tools right now. And that could make existing inequalities in academia even worse,
It's like we're on the verge of this technological revolution, but not everyone gets an invitation.
Exactly. And the authors, they get that. They're saying we need to address these disparities, make sure these tools are available to everyone, no matter their background or their resources.
It's like we need to make sure everyone's on board for this AI revolution, right?
Yeah.
We don't want it to create even bigger gaps in academia.
Exactly. And the authors, they make a good point. It's not enough to just give people access to the technology.
Right.
We also need to make sure everyone has the skills to actually use it effectively. Imagine, AI literacy being just as important as any other research skill.
Like an AI boot camp for everyone starting out in academia. But even with access and skills, are there other things we need to watch out for?
One thing that comes up a lot is bias. AI models, they're trained on huge amounts of data, right?
Right.
And that data can reflect, even amplify existing biases. So we have to be careful, use these tools critically, always questioning the outputs and looking for blind spots.
So we can't just blindly trust whatever the AI spits out.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We still need human judgment. AI can help us, but it can't replace our critical thinking, creativity, all those things that make research good.
We're still calling the shots, even as AI gets more advanced. But this paper, even with the challenges, it's super optimistic, isn't it? They seem to really believe that AI can change academia for the better.
Yeah, They really do, and I think that's inspiring. They even end the paper with this great African proverb: if you want to run fast, run alone. If you want to run far, run together.
Ooh, I like that. It's like
Yeah.
we can achieve so much more when we work together, support each other, and embrace these new ways of doing things.
Exactly, and that's what they're pushing for. An academic world where AI helps us go further, together, guided by the principles of Ubuntu. It's about using this tech to create a more inclusive, equitable approach to scholarship.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. So for our listeners who are already thinking about how to use AI in their own work, what's the one thing you want them to take away from all of this?
I'd say don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to experiment, explore, even make mistakes. AI is powerful, but it's a tool. Your
Mhm.
creativity, your critical thinking, those are the things that make your work unique.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for everyone to think about. How could you use AI in your own work? And how can the principles of Ubuntu, that humanity, that connection, guide your approach? Just something to ponder. Until next time, happy researching, everyone.